I knit that blanket too,
Yes, she loved it.
but there was a book in there too. Did she get the book?
I don't know, she was going on about I'm sure if it was in there, she got it.
But it was in a shipping package. I never opened it. I just put it in because I knew what it was. And I hope she didn't think it was just something
I don't think so, because they had a lot of stuff.
they did.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sure she just put it in. If she has a question about it, I'm sure she'd get a hold of me, and ask if it was not supposed to be her.
Well, she thanked me. I saw her on the road there today, walking. She thanked me for the blanket. Then I got home. Didn't mention the book, so, and then I saw her voicemail. So
Yesterday.
her voicemail.
Yeah.
You get her the book.
She got a lot of books from Sheila. So from Sheila.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, so that might be confusing, to say.
It was nice.
Yeah. So she got
Now we got this
here.
Yeah.
A lot of clothes. A car seat, a little rocker from Sheila. She got the blanket from Fruity and that little dog blanket. And I gave her a basket, yeah, a little dog stuffy, and it has a blanket in it.
Yeah.
And I gave her a basket with some stuff in it.
Just for the,
She might know.
we don't know if
If
that's.
She didn't.
But it's very late.
Russ, I forgot my ears, so if you could yell at us, that'd be great.
I'm good at that.
What?
I'm good at that.
No, you're not. You.
It's.
Not according to my wife. Not according to my wife. And my daughter.
You can yell at your ladies.
But this, I could go to. There's probably. Say, Tuesday before Lucas stuff.
No,
Because they're not all day, I'm good at that, so.
Did anybody else come to the show besides just our church?
We did not have.
Yeah, it's funny.
it reminds me of.
But Linda, her daughter, Jamie, and her kids were here also. And they brought you as well, and with them.
Oh,
So Jamie is kind of extra than normal.
they've done
Other than,
Yeah. So I think it was up to you.
yes,
Okay.
they were
I'll call
actually
them
not
tomorrow.
going to say. But they were not going to say, but whenever they started talking with them, Betty and Bill and some different ones, I think they got encouraged to stay. Because I met her out the parking lot when she first came in. She said, well, we haven't given her nothing to do. Because she didn't know it, but I mean, it was, she got her this little floral with a lot of greens and pink, green base basically, but all floral. With a big ruffle and big ruffle sleeves. And a
Okay.
little purse that has the exact
Yeah,
same.
it's not working.
So I get this out.
It's
This
just adorable.
the other one wasn't working? So I hook up to
It's
this?
so fun to
Now that one's
shop
working.
for little girls.
Oh, I know.
Bizarro land.
That's
It's like, it's crazy because they have all of this mess it now, and you just go upon it and.
I shall leave this on. It's like the conduit.
I always dress my girls, I had got, little, some gloves and stuff, passed down from different people and. So,
that.
so I did that as much as I could, as much as they would let me until they got older and like.
The last time we were here, we used to.
That's weird.
Guys that didn't remember, we used to pawn it and stuff. It depends on how I feel. Right now.
I don't know that.
Right now, I'm gonna drag.
I have a straw hat that could
I have
work.
anything.
Yeah.
I've got.
Oh, so-
Every year.
I mean, I never did it myself, but I always dressed the girls up because they had the little
Dodge the tornadoes, huh?
hats and
Well, that
gloves.
missed us, we were in Oklahoma City.
As,
That was over.
As best to dress like
We're
California.
talking on Sundays. It's a big state, so it's a
So
good thing.
I always played that, you know, it's like,
We did get
made
a
sure that
thunder
everything fit
shower.
and everything was
Had a
coordinated and
couple of
everything.
pretty
So
good bangs.
it was just, it was fun to have.
Oh,
So
yeah.
always do that. Because
It's
one of
kind of
the,
a central,
one of the
Right.
first ones.
Right.
was-
and every
Because I always-
day,
It is, it's right, it goes north, it goes east, it goes south, it goes west.
One of them, they,
and
Their dad,
just
one of them.
3 and 4 lane highway.
Got all those yellow rosette for that
I can
one,
say.
and pink or something.
And
Yeah, you're right.
And actually they did.
That's like that's how Dallas is too. You've been in Dallas?
And they must have, so I kind of all go outside.
That's awesome.
So it's going to be, so I kind of go outside, and it was just people with all the dressed up.
Take that.
That Atlanta airport.
Yeah.
I never
Oh,
seen
yeah.
that.
Yep.
Have you been there?
I've been to 90% of the airports in this country. I won't tell you how or why, but O'Hare is, Miami's the worst. Miami's the
Miami?
worst, yeah. Because if you fly in domestic and you leave international, it's, I mean, they have a tram or a monorail that you can take, but still. And then actually, well, even Detroit has a monorail. O'Hare, we ran through O'Hare as fast as we could. I burned the soles off my shoes, literally.
Was it that hot?
Nope, she was dragging me that fast. It's like,
But it was a great flight.
that's good.
I'll admit
No troubles.
it. No, none.
Yeah, we were concerned about you.
Others were delayed, but we weren't.
It's good.
We're in Matthew, what chapter now?
Matthew chapter 10,
Okay.
still there. It's page 112. It begins on page 1121 in the Pew Bible. And what we ought to do is just take the bookmarks and put it in Matthew 10 in all the Pew Bibles. That way, if anyone shows up, 'cause we'll still be here for a while, and if anyone shows up, where we'll be.
Yep.
So last time, should we just start arguing or should we read some? Last time, or before last time, it was, my request was to read it and think about why Jesus only sent the 12 they were only sent to Israel and not to the Gentiles or the Samaritans, even though later on in 10 we see that they will be in front of Gentiles and kings, but kings, Gentiles, governors. But early on, again, this is Jesus speaking the entire chapter is Jesus speaking to the 12 before he sent them out. And he said to the 12, the first thing he says, go nowhere among the Gentiles and enter no town of the Samaritans, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. My question was, going into it, why? Why did he say that? I thought Jesus was for everybody. Why did he come and send out 12? When he started with 70, whittled it down to 12, and even one of them betrayed him. Why did he send them only to Israel? And then I said, and it was debated, hotly debated, but I said that because in Daniel chapter 9, and I even gave you the answer to look at it before, in Daniel chapter 9, the Messiah Prince, makes a firm covenant with Israel. And this is him instituting that firm covenant. Daniel predicts a firm covenant, and Matthew has Jesus giving that firm covenant to them. Again, we can't see it all. We only see the beginning here, but having read ahead, I can tell you that, scholars agree Jesus' ministry was about 42 months or 3.5 years. And then the disciples went about 42 months or 3.5 years before they went to the Gentiles. So there's your 7 years, that 1 year remaining in Daniel where Jesus made a firm covenant with them to only go to them. And it plays itself out. It will continue to play itself out as we go through Matthew. And we'll read a little further today, but I just as a reminder, I'll start in verse 1, then I'll jump to, he gave them authority to do good and much good, right? Unclean spirits casting out, heal every disease and every affliction. So the 12 can go out and they can essentially do some of the things we've seen Jesus doing. And also, again, he called the 12. Verse 2, the names of the 12. So there's 2, 12. Then he names the 12. You can study that on your own later, memorize that if you want. There's a song you can sing about it. Verse 5, these 12, Jesus sent out, instructing them, go nowhere among the Gentiles and enter no town of the Samaritans. So that's the don't, and then here's the do. It's but rather go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel and proclaim as you go, saying the kingdom of heaven is at hand. That's how John the Baptist came. That's how Jesus came. And now he's sending them out to say the kingdom of heaven is at arm's length. As little translation as you can get. The kingdom of heaven is within reach. Then he says things like, heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse lepers, cast demons. You receive without paying, give without pay. So I'll give one example of why I think this does apply to our day and why I am a pastor and why I watch out for people who do things like this. When you go to a faith healer and they want money, I say, no. No, the disciples didn't do it. I don't know what you think you get paid to do that. Other places in there. So again, we can learn and we definitely have application through this. Again, we talked about the Holy Spirit will give you words and utterance in times when it's to evangelize. And I think most people who have ever done that say, yeah, I didn't know what to say, and the words just came. And I can tell you there are times when I knew what to say and I didn't. So, and you never know. It's not a promise. This is not a promise to us, but these things, this is Jesus. We are his followers, so some of these things can apply at times. But specifically, the 12. Specifically, this is for them. So we'll move on.
It didn't change until Paul, right? Paul was the one that sent them to the Gentiles, and Timothy didn't like it.
Peter, no, Timothy.
No, Peter didn't like it.
Yeah, Peter and Paul got in trouble. Timothy was the one that Paul said, don't let them look down on you for your youth. Don't let them look down on you because you're part Greek and all that. But yeah, Peter and Paul argued. Even Acts, I forget what it is, if it's 14, right around in there, when they had the Council of Jerusalem, they kind of fell in line with Paul, James. And James being like one of the harder epistles to understand because it's works. We're sure, I will show you my faith by my works. And faith without works is dead, and these type of things. Whereas at the council, he was like, no, it's two things. Sexual immorality, food sacrifice to idols, and there's one other thing, 3 things, the big ones. And then in Corinthians, Paul's like, what is an idol? An idol is nothing. Because some of the Corinthians were buying cheap meat at the marketplace because it was sacrificed to idols. So they had all this meat left over. And some of the people in that church were going to get cheap meat because it's sacrificed to idols. And so there are people like, oh, they can't do that. It's sacrificed to idols. And Paul's like, there's no such thing. They're dumb idols. Let them eat their cheap meat. But then, that's right. That's the given thanks. So even then, the 3 things that they said not to do in Acts, Paul reduced it to 2 things not to do. That's a whole nother story. But just to kind of insert the progression that we do see through the New Testament. Things are different when Jesus is there because he's still under the law. He's still under the law. Of course, he's doing it right and they're doing it wrong. And he is God. And they say, like we saw in Sunday morning services, they didn't recognize him at all, other than maybe some good works. But then when you did them, they tried to catch him on the Sabbath and say, you're healing on the Sabbath. You're blaspheming. And they tried to put him to death. I'll give you guys sneak peek for Sunday morning. The last verse we'll read is they're trying to put him to death again. It'll be 4 weeks in a row. And the point I make in that is they really viewed him dead, and he was their God. So it behooves us to study and to not be like them.
And when you say don't do sexual immorality, anything outside a marriage between one man and one woman is sexual immorality. Don't do it. And that's still true today.
Yeah. We could. Okay, how about this? Are there any questions or anything from 10:1 until 10:16? Because you remember they said, behold, he told them, behold, it'd be better for Sodom and Gomorrah than that town in the judgment if they don't heed you. Because again, Jesus is sending them doing exactly what Jesus was doing. Does that make sense? Like Jesus came doing these things and he sent them out to only Israel to do the same things he was doing, to heal, to raise the dead, to cast out demons, so they're disciples and apostles and sort of a mirror image of Jesus in that what the works that they did, not that they were pure or anything like that, but the works that they did. Any questions on that? Okay, I'll start in verse 16 and I'll read a section and then we'll pray and then we'll see what we can get done. So again, I'm going to do it the silly way. Just bear with me, because sometimes we forget. Behold, I'm sending you 12, y'all 12, out as sheep in the midst of wolves. So be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. Beware of men, for they would deliver y'all 12 over to the courts. That would be the Sanhedrin, and flog you in their synagogues. It's important, synagogues. They'll flog you 12 in their synagogues. And you 12 will be dragged before governors and kings for my sake, to bear witness before them and the Gentiles. When they deliver you 12 over, do not be anxious how you are to speak, or what you 12 are to say, or what you 12 are, or for what you 12 are to say will be given to you 12 in that hour. For it is not you 12 who speak, but the Spirit of your Father speaking through you. Brother will deliver brother over to death, and the father his child, and children rise up against parents and have them put to death. And y'all 12 will be hated by all for my name's sake. But the one who endures to the end will be saved. When they persecute you 12 in one town, flee to the next. For truly I say to you 12 will not have gone through all the towns of Israel before the Son of Man comes. Father, it's a difficult passage unless we really, really keep it in context. Please be with me as I try to do that and to show exactly what Jesus was instructing his disciples, and help us strap on our sandals and see the first century context, remembering the Roman rule, but the somewhat autonomy Israel had at the time when Jesus was there. And bless this time. May we all get more out of it and learn. Most importantly, learn more and draw closer to you. In Jesus' name, amen. So, let me read that last verse there. It gets taken out of context. I'll read it the way it's written, and then the way it should be read. English is superior in many things, but not in personal pronouns. When they persecute you in one town, flee to the next. For truly I say to you, you will not have gone through all the towns of Israel before the Son of Man comes. Even with the context of going through Israel, if when I read you, automatically it's like me. It was you. But that you, if you read it in the Greek, is plural. And if you keep it in the context, it is you 12. So that takes us right out of the equation. And if we take ourselves right out of the equation, we see something very interesting that I'm going to get in trouble with right off the bat here. Again, when they persecute you 12 in one town, flee to the next. For truly I say to you 12, you 12 will not have gone through all the towns of Israel before the Son of Man comes. There you go. Son of Man comes before the disciples finish going through the towns in Israel. Good. All right. Jumping back. Behold, I am sending you out as sheep. I'm sending you 12 out as sheep in the midst of wolves. So be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. I'm going to flip back. You don't have to, or you can look back and read this in verse 5. Then these 12, Jesus sent out, instructing them, go nowhere among the Gentiles and enter no town of the Samaritans, but rather go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So who's he going? To whom is he going? Israel. So he's sending them to Israel. Verse 16, behold, I am sending you out as sheep in the midst of wolves. Jesus is calling at least some of Israel wolves. And he warns them, so be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. Version might say shrewd as serpents. Innocent as doves. So two contrasting sort of things. So it's like, be smart, but be pure, right? Don't fall into their traps. Don't listen to them. You listen to me. You do what I tell you, but be wise about it. Because they're wolves and you're sheep. Make sense? That metaphor makes sense? Beware of men, for they will deliver you over to courts. Lost it. Had it earlier, said it earlier, but my brain just went blank. The Sanhedrin. So he tells them, beware of men, for they will deliver you 12 over to the Sanhedrin and flog, beat you with whips and cords in their synagogues. So again, we still see it's the Israel context, first century, and you will be dragged before governors like Herod's and Felix's and things like that, and kings for my sake to bear witness before them and the Gentiles. So he's prophesying that, okay, and you will go to the Gentiles. It says, when they deliver you 12 over, do not be anxious, do not worry on how you 12 are to speak or what you 12 are to say. For what you 12 are to say will be given to you 12 in that hour. For it is not you who speak, but the Spirit of your Father speaking through you 12. So to the 12, he's promising the Spirit, and the Spirit will be the one that utters as they open their mouths. When they get in trouble and they're flogged and they're in the synagogues and they're before kings and governors, which book of Acts, great book to read, to see these things unfold. It certainly happened, especially to Paul. But it happened to Peter and John. Remember, they went to jail, and then Peter went to jail, and he's knocking at the door. Was it Lydia, I think, opened it? Okay. Not Lydia.
No.
Oh, yeah. Lydia was the anyway, the girl opens the door. Rhoda. No, Rhoda. Oh, yeah, Rhoda. Opens the door. Oh, it's Peter. And slams the door. Oops. Yeah.
Guess who I saw?
Peter's at the door. He's like, what are you talking about? Why'd you slam the door in his face then?
Didn't you pray?
Yeah, right. So Acts is a great book, full of action-packed, and continues to tell the story. A lot of things we see in Matthew, and especially in Luke, because obviously Luke wrote too, so they belong together. But we see the things predicted here comes when they go out. It is we talk about fishers of men? And then they cast the net, and a lot of times we see, remember you sing that song, I'll make you fishers of men. Yep. And you kind of think like, oh, it's like a kid with a cane pole, tosses it out with a worm on it and a bobber, and it pops it up. But no, they were fishermen. They took nets, they threw them out. They would drag the nets back in. They would take the bad fish, get rid of them, and then keep the good fish. So, and we continue to see these types of metaphors where they're not only evangelizing, they're also condemning those who don't follow their teachings. Those who do not listen, those who do not follow Jesus, they are condemned. So,
It's just the house of Israel.
just the house of Israel.
So what they're saying is that some come to Christ because of their preaching, and others in the family turn them in? Is that what-
That too. Yep. There's so the minor prophets, especially Malachi. I think we can. Let me look real quick. I'm just going to Malachi because it's right before Matthew.
Yeah.
And but it's also it's a little bit. Yeah, this one, of course, is about the priests. Is Malachi chapter 2. We won't get there today. That is that we see that in Matthew. But towards the end, where he talks about John the Baptist, always pages stick together when you're in a hurry to get there.
What verse in Malachi 2?
No, I was going to go to Malachi 4.
Oh, sure.
Just to give we send John the Baptist. So he said, "For behold, the days are coming, burning like an oven, when all the arrogant and all evildoers will be stubble. The day that is coming shall set them ablaze, says Lord of hosts, that in it, so that it will leave them neither root nor branch. For you who fear my name, the Son of Righteousness will rise with healing in his wings. You shall go out leaping like calves from the stall, and you shall tread down the wicked, for they will be ashes under the soles of your feet on the day when I act, says the Lord of hosts. Remember the law of my servant Moses, the statutes and rules that I commanded him at Horeb for all Israel. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet for the great and awesome day of the Lord comes, and he will turn the hearts of fathers to children and the hearts of children to their fathers, lest I come and strike the land with the decree of utter destruction." And you go back further and more, you see that, things like this are promised, and then right before Matthew he promises Elijah, and you see there's a dichotomy. It's some are going to leap like calves and have wings, and others are going into utter destruction. And some fathers and sons will be coming back, and others will be going to destruction. That's how it is throughout most of the minor prophets. And so when we come to Jesus' coming and sending them out, you get that's what we see. Brother will deceive, brother will deliver brother to death, father, child, children rise against parents and have them put to death. So we'll look again at that next week, because like I said, there's a lot. So I'll get those all listed down. Just wanted to finish this section. We can come back to it. And then the disciple is not above his master, nor servant above his. A disciple is not above his teacher, nor a servant above his master. If they have called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more will they malign those of his household? And so that, again, there's a dichotomy of his disciples versus other disciples, the people that would, come to him, the people that won't. They are not above Jesus, right? And it's enough for him to be like them, be like him, whereas they get to, they're casting out demons. They're healing the sick, they're even raising the dead. And I want to keep going, but we have Oh, yeah, we can. So, verse 26. Again, to the 12. So have no fear of them, for nothing is covered that will not be revealed, or hidden that will not be known. What I tell you in the dark, say in the light, and what you hear whisper, proclaim on the housetops. Again, we start to get the thinking maybe this is to us, so I'll do it again in the right way. So have no fear of them, for nothing is covered that will not be revealed, or hidden that will not be known. What I tell y'all 12 in the dark, make it known. Yeah. So have no fear of them, for nothing is covered that will not be revealed, or hidden that will not be known. What I tell you all 12 in the dark, say in the light. What you hear whispered, proclaim on the housetops, and do not fear those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Rather fear him who can destroy both soul and body in hell. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? And not one of them will fall to the ground apart from y'all 12's Father. But even the hairs of your head are numbered. Fear not, therefore. Y'all 12 are more valuable than many sparrows. So everyone who acknowledges me before men, I will also acknowledge before my Father who is in heaven. But whoever denies me before men, I will also deny before my Father is in heaven. Another one of those verses that we often have it applied to ourselves. We say, he knows the hairs of your head. And some of us, it's easier than others. Again, true. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny, and not one of them fall to the ground apart from Father. True statement. Heads of the 12's head are numbered. The hairs of the head of the 12 are numbered. Ours too. Fear not, therefore, you are more valuable than many sparrows. Granted, he's absolutely saying it to them. It doesn't mean it doesn't apply to us. Just remember, he's saying it to them because they're about to go out into. They're going to the wolves. He's sending them to the wolves. And so he's giving them encouragement, saying,
What, he's sending them to
the wolves.
Israel.
The wolves. Behold, I'm sending out of sheep in the midst of wolves. Verse
He
16.
thought they weren't supposed to go to them, but they were supposed to go to the house of Israel.
Wolves.
Oh, wolves. Tell them I didn't wear my ears. Oh, bad guys.
Wolves.
In Israel.
Yes, so he's giving them comfort because he's sending them out to the wolves.
Gotcha.
Verse 32. So everyone who acknowledges me before men, I'll also acknowledge my Father who is in heaven. I'll just tell you now, you can apply that to yourselves because there are many other verses that say that. Romans 10, the one that's on the back of the bulletin, says the same thing.
Verse 33 is like what Jim Elliot said.
I don't know what Jim Elliot said.
Elizabeth Elliot's husband, the missionaries that went to Peru and the men were killed, and Elizabeth went back and.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And he said, he is no fool who gives up what he cannot keep to gain what he cannot lose. You didn't know him?
No, I've heard the story.
Okay.
I've heard many. That's like, I honestly start confusing missionary stories with like the one about the woman who went. I again can't remember where she went, can't remember her name, but she found life was so hard. All she did was get up, go get water, bring it home, and go to sleep for years. And then finally, people started coming to her. And it was just years that she's like, God, what am I doing here? But she didn't stop. And then, the ones. Yeah, I do remember the story for sure. Verse 33, but whoever denies me before men, I'll also deny before my Father who's in heaven. That again is very specific to that time because people nowadays we know can deny God before men for many, many years, but they can still be redeemed. Not at this time. So that's how, again, a reminder that we're a little bit different. They were in a totally different situation than we were. Now I'm going to read my favorite verse of the whole Bible. I do that all the time, I'm kidding. But another one that people, when they read this section, this rarely comes up. And this is, again, my proof that Jesus is talking to a specific people at a specific time when he was lived on the earth. Verse 34 is, do not think that I have come to bring peace to the earth. I have not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to set man against father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a person's enemies will be those of his own household. Whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me, and whoever does not take his cross and follow me is not worthy of me. Whoever finds his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Pick up on this next week. I'll say a few things right now. Again, a lot of this is from Isaiah. It's the same. We'll be looking at the same things from back when we saw the children rise against parents and to have them put to death. Along the same things from verse 46. Up to verse 46. And look at verse 30. I just want to talk about that real. Because this is one, again, as a pastor, I want to warn you about some things people like to say. Living in a Roman, in the first century Roman Empire, what's the only thing they're going to think of with a cross? Execution, death. This is, I've heard it my whole life, and it drives me insane when people say, oh, you pick up your cross and follow him. Like the cross is some burden that you carry. It's death. The cross is death. It's death to oneself. And to them, it's literally death. Every one of them. Even John. Don't know exactly how, but they all paid the ultimate price for following Jesus, which again, application for today means we can trust them, right? They're not lying. Why would they lie? Hey, anyone ever watched Lutheran satire? Go on YouTube or go type in Lutheran satire and like Peter and Paul. And it comes up with Peter and Paul, and they're having it's a cartoon, and they're having an argument. I believe it's Paul's like, oh, we're going to tell everyone he rose from the dead. And oh, cool. And he goes, what do we get out of it? Riches? No. Power? No. What do we get? Death. Right? And so you can begin to understand we can trust them because Jesus promised them, you're going to go out. I'm sending you amongst wolves, and you're going to be sheep. And they're going to scourge you in your synagogues, and they're going to flog you. But you will proclaim me to kings and Gentiles eventually. And they will put you to death. Pick up your cross. Because if you're not going to pick up your cross, you're not worthy of me.
Ecclesiastes is the least read book in the Bible, they claim. But
is it?
That's what they claim. But what does Ecclesiastes say? All the things of this world are nothing compared to Jesus. And if we have Jesus, we have everything we need.
Isn't Ecclesiastes
like that?
No.
Or do we?
No.
Do we have all these idols?
No. Oh yeah. No. We make up our own Jesus and our own laws and our own. Everything. It is. It's because again, it's hard to die to oneself. Well, he made it simple for the disciples. They had, for the apostles. They were at the end of John. He tells Peter, right? And he says, "You're gonna, when you're older, you'll be dragged around and taken where you don't want to go." And John says, told him, telling. Again, I love the Bible. I'm such great stories. And he's like, John says he told him that to, by which manner of death he would come. And he looks at Jesus, looks at John. He's like, hey, what about him? And he says, if I want him to remain till I come, what is that to you? You follow me. And then, of course, it's apologetic for me and what I believe, what I'm trying to teach here. John said that he didn't. So it went around that John was going to live forever. And then John's like, he didn't say, tell you this. Okay, this has nothing to do with you, even though it does. But to really remember that, to put it in the context of what he was telling the disciples and where he was telling them to go. and how he was telling him to do it without bringing anything with him, you know. Trust in God and the worker is worthy of his wages and so on and so forth. It's a big chunk of, and it's 90% Jesus telling them what to do. And then a little bit of Matthew just explaining to us, you know, to whom he was speaking. Questions, comments? No, shut it off. Stop recording.